After India has pulled out of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, will there be a renewed push for the India-EU Free Trade Agreement? Joining us to talk about India-EU relations is Mr. Chrisitian Leffler, who is the Deputy Secretary General for the European External Action Service. Mr. Leffler, thanks very much for speaking to CNBC TV 18.
My pleasure.
What is the current position of the India-EU FTA?
For the moment, the technical talks have advanced, but very slowly. We find that there is still quite a large distance to bridge between us before we can find real ground to advance in negotiations. So we would like to explore possibilities to have a dialogue at political level or very senior level where we can gain a better understanding on both sides of what our expectations are, what our limitations are, so that when we move further towards an actual negotiating engagement, we can go into that with the confidence that we know that our expectations are matched.
So, Mr. Leffler, is there a bit of disappointment that this FTA has been negotiated since 2007, but we're nowhere close to conclusion yet?
No, I mean, these agreements are very complex, challenging for both sides. And we know that they can take a long time. We've just recently concluded the negotiations with the Mercosur countries in South America. That negotiation first went on for 10 years, then it paused for a while, then we had another 10 years. Now we're there. Now we have the agreement, and now we're working on the ratification of it. So we know it can take a long time. That was exceptional. We wouldn't expect to go as long with India once we engage. But I think on both sides, we need to have a degree of patience, and above all, we need to do careful preparation in order to manage the expectations and be sure that we have a common vision of where we should be heading.
From your sense, what are the sticking points or the difficult points in the EU-India FTA negotiations?
We want to make sure that we get an agreement which is modern, which is ambitious, comprehensive, and balanced. We're open to including all sectors, but we do need to make sure that in all sectors there is a real opening. To paraphrase what others have said about other issues, free trade means free trade. We also strongly want to adhere to the rules of the WTO. That means that a free trade agreement should, to quote the WTO rules, cover essentially all trade. So we want to have all aspects fully included.
Okay. So there have been issues over import of automobiles from the EU. There have been issues over wines and spirits as well. Would you want considerable progress on these fronts as we move ahead with talks?
I think that market access will be a very important part of it. And we are ready to ensure full access to the European market. We would expect India to reciprocate in a gradual opening of its markets as well. We want to cover other areas as well. As I said, it should be comprehensive. We've done a number of recent trade deals. I mentioned Mercosur. With Japan, with Canada, with Vietnam. We're close to finishing with Indonesia as well, for example. So we're doing this with many partners around the world. And we want to make sure that we bring them up to a very high level of ambition, which also reflects the character of our economies as they are today. Trade has moved on. We're now talking much more about integrated value chains. In the way companies operate together, in the way trade and investment comes together. So these agreements should reflect all these aspects and make sure that they offer the possibilities for economic operators in India and in Europe to take advantage on all fronts to bring trade levels up and to bring in more investments.
And our final question would be, we recently saw a visit of about 25 members of European Parliament to Kashmir, where there has been disturbance over the past couple of months, since the 5th of August. Did these MPs have the consent of the European Union?
No, these members of the European Parliament came on a visit to India, as I understand it, on a private invitation from an Indian foundation, an Indian organization. They did not travel as representatives of the European Parliament, and therefore we have no expectation that there will be any kind of report or presentation from their side. They were here as private citizens. That's their good right.
Were you also surprised by it?
Parliamentarians, like anybody else, are free to respond to invitations they get, and that's their good right. But we do not, as I say, need to review or comment or expect their comments on a visit which we consider was of a private nature.
Okay, and would you want to send an official delegation to Kashmir, and what's your view on the situation there right now?
I think our views are well known. We understand fully the security concerns of the Indian authorities. We understand the need to take action to protect sovereignty, to protect also the well-being and integrity of people in that area. At the same time, we are concerned, and we have shared our concern, about the situation in Kashmir, about the protection of the fundamental rights of all the residents of that area. We've seen recently, which we salute, improvements. A lot of people have been released, communications have been re-established, not fully, but getting close, which is very good progress. But we do hope that we will very soon see a full re-establishment of all rights for all citizens, for every citizen, every resident in Kashmir, so that they can enjoy, like all other Indian citizens, their constitutional rights.
Right. Mr. Leffler, thanks very much for speaking to CNBC TV 18. Thank you so much.